babe.
Hi. What are we talking about today?
Our upcoming consultation with an immigration attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to spend some time filling out basically this consultation questionnaire. It's a 3-page questionnaire that the law firm has asked we complete prior to the appointment. And it's all about me being whether or not I'm eligible, or whether or not I might be eligible for a visa towards immigration.
So what all is on this page? What do they want to know about you?
So mostly it is your basic personal information. They want to know about, one thing that kind of stuck out to me is, do you use social media? And I mean, I think that shouldn't be all that shocking, but it's kind of like, oh, what are they gonna look up? What's out there?
Who doesn't use social media?
Yeah.
I think everybody here is using it.
Yeah, I hope so. They want to know if I've ever had a visa before, if I've ever been declined or not let into the United States. They want to know if I've ever had a hearing in front of an immigration judge. So like most of this stuff is totally easy. No fears are coming up. And the last page is just about dependents, which I don't have any dependents. They are also asking Brian some information, but it's just the really basic stuff. So you're off the hook.
No one's asking me if I've had any previous marriages.
So maybe you're not off the hook?
Well, I mean, I've married 4 Canadians so far. Couple of Russians. Several Venezuelans.
Okay, so we're gonna cut this part out. Yeah, so this is like, I don't even actually, like, I don't know what a consultation is exactly. I think like my basic understanding is that we're meeting with an attorney and they are going to assess whether or not they can take us on as a client.
I suppose so. I don't know. Well, I just came over, yesterday or the day before?
Friday,
yesterday.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
As I was getting off of the Blackball ferry here in Canada, there was a guy that had overheard me talking to the customs people, and he heard that I was from Port Townsend, and he ended up stopping me to talk about how he had immigrated from Port Townsend to Canada. He married his wife down in Mexico or something. But he had talked about how he had worked, and he was working over here in Canada under the table and was making some money. And then when it came time for immigrating to Canada, they kind of busted him at one point.
I don't even think it was part of his immigration process. I think it was just him crossing the border randomly. He had been in Canada, working under the table, and then heading back home to the U.S. And he had a bunch of tools, and he had like a bunch of work gear, and I think that triggered a bit of curiosity from the border guards.
And they confiscated his phone and his computer and said that if you do not give us the passwords to be able to access your stuff, we won't let you immigrate to Canada. So he had to give that over, and they searched through all of his messages, and they did end up finding out that he had been working under the table. So we didn't catch exactly what the consequences were.
He said it was mostly a slap on the wrist.
Okay.
And kind of like a warning, and I think it was a bit of a power flex, but it's I think what I took away from that is that, and I already had these suspicions, but the Border Patrol has a ton of power, and I just really want to play by the rules while we're going through this, because we could jeopardize my eligibility to get a visa and being able to move. And like the reality is, like, if I can't get a visa, there's a big question mark around like the future of our relationship, like how that would look. Like, then what?
Oh, we just run away to Mexico or something. Or something. Who knows? Yeah.
So you're saying there's options.
Yeah, there's always an option.
So we, I think, as all jokes aside, are trying to play by the rules. And that's kind of why we've decided to go through an attorney, is we want this to be a pretty seamless, straightforward process, as Americans say. I wanted to say process, but... So I think we're going to fill this out.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to you on what that's like. Our meeting with the attorney is on Wednesday, so today is Sunday, so a few more days, and we have to pay and submit this before our appointment. And the cost of this attorney was $325 US up front, and that loosely translates to $440 or $45 Canadian. So it's not cheap. So that will be a big question I have on Wednesday, is kind of costs associated with working with an attorney, and timelines and things like that will be really cool. The one other thing that I took away from the conversation with this American guy Brian was talking to, is that what we've heard so far is that this can take up to 12 months, and he said that it was actually really fast for him.
Yeah, I think 6 months.
6 months. So that was a kind of a big wake up call as well, because it's just like as soon as this process starts, it's like it just keeps rolling. So
yeah, it could
go pretty fast, and we got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I guess it's all about what your perception of fast is. But with us having the idea that it could take up to a year or even longer, the idea that it could actually take 6 months is like, holy crap, that could be really quick.
Yeah.
And boom, coming to America.
Boom. So we'll check in after we fill out this form.
Yep.
We're having a hard time because we don't know what to talk about, because we don't have any information and we don't have any answers. And it seems that there's no shortage of questions that we have. And the whole point of talking to an attorney is to start getting more answers. But I personally find, like, I have so many questions, I don't even know what my questions are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you just explain it all to me and give me all the answers? This is kind of what I keep coming up against, because at the bottom of the questionnaire we just filled out, it was like, do you have any additional questions? And it's like, well, yeah, I have a ton of questions.
That's all we got. But,
like, is now the appropriate time to ask them? Are you the appropriate person to ask them to? Like, we have so many questions that we're like, oh, we should ask the attorney that. And then it's like, well, actually, that may be more of a question for a bank, or, like when we were talking about, like, investments and, like, my financial history in Canada. And then it's like, well, are those questions we ask the attorney for the immigration process, or are those questions we just kind of put aside and wait until we get through this point? And you were going to say something about the forum.
Oh yeah. So the guy that I ran into on the ferry, had mentioned that there is a forum that we can access and just be able to read what other people are saying about immigrating. I guess he immigrated to Canada, so I'm guessing that we're going to find a bunch of answers for immigrating to Canada, although we're trying to immigrate her to the U.S. So I don't know. We just got lots of questions.
Yeah, and there's so many questions and there's so much context to everyone's specific immigration experience. So in talking to friends, I've heard so many different ways to do this and so many different scenarios that came up that kind of informed the process that they took. So yeah, it's hard to come up with what we want to talk about because we feel kind of overwhelmed with
not knowing.
Yeah.
Yep, we don't know nothing.
So our appointment is this coming week with our attorney, or no, it's not they're not even our attorney yet, but
They will be.
It's a consultation to kind of, for us to on both sides decide if this is something we're going forward with.
Mm-hmm.
Cost is going to be a thing that I have questions about, like what are we able to commit to financially in working with an attorney. I think that what the guy was saying that we were talking to was saying that like there's so much information available on the internet that you can save yourself a lot of money by doing it independent of an attorney. And so we may find that after we kind of get the lay of the land,
the route we might go.
Yeah, we might not need an attorney the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, because there's a lot of like anxiety and fear that comes up, I feel a sense of like stability or safety in the idea of working with an attorney.
Yeah, I do as well.
So we've sent it over. We gotta pay, and then we'll meet with them on Wednesday.
Do we already have our questions lined up for them?
No.
Okay. We have written down a bunch of questions.
Yeah. I think, I'm a little worried because based on our first experience with Boundless, where we had a page of questions, and the attorney we spoke with on the phone through boundless.com.
It wasn't an attorney.
Yeah.
She was an attorney?
Yes.
She sounded like she was 17.
They're an attorney service.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she's actually an attorney. I don't know. Whatever.
So we had 15 minutes and she basically was like, okay, which question you want to start with? And it was like, bada bing, bada boom, you're on the spot. Like, ask the right question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the best question to ask with this small amount of time? And we blanked.
No, we didn't exactly. We just went over the different ways of immigrating. And we kind of did narrow it down at that time. To the one that I can't remember what it was called, but
spousal visa.
So you would stay here, you would continue to work, continue to make money, and eventually, boom, you would come to U.S. I think.
So that's why we're calling this Immigration for Dummies.
Yeah, we the dummies.
We feel like the dummies. And it's not super user friendly. Like the language isn't user friendly. It's very complex. So I don't think they make this easy. And I think they do that on purpose.
Do they not want people doing this?
They want to control the process.
They got the control.
Anyways, that's it really. I think, even though this isn't like a really exciting step, it is a step, and that's kind of the purpose of this, of us documenting this process, because it is like There's lots of steps,
Yeah.
and I want to provide a resource that is really transparent for folks who might be going through this. So it's not all super exciting. It's a lot of just filling out forms and uploading them.
So far.
That's it so far.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still taking baby steps.
That's right.
Yep. Welcome to Immigration for Dummies. Like, subscribe, follow.
Bye.